If you've ever looked at a walk-in freezer and thought, this would be a great place for an intergalactic extinction event, then David Koepp has finally written a movie specifically for your oddly specific brain of anxiety. Cold Storage is a film that understands exactly what it is. A high-budget, gross-out tribute to practical effect glory days of the 1980s. It's the kind of fun movie that smells like a mix of rotting meat and bubblegum. And frankly, it's the most fun I've had in a bunker in years. In this video, the first half is a spoiler-free review of Cold Storage to see if it's worth your time. And after my rating, I'll dive into a spoiler warning and we'll dive into a full ending explain. Use the chapters to navigate. Director Johnny Campbell ditches that clean, sterile aesthetic of modern sci-fi and dives into that pop horror 80s sort of look immediately. It's both like tactile and repulsive at the same time. Like, you haven't seen a bloater in Left 4 Dead, you're going to see a lot of bloaters in this. Then later on, the cinematography leans into that claustrophobia of the decommissioned military sub-level. It feels less like a polished Hollywood blockbuster, more like a splatter comedy heirloom. Something you'd find on an unlabeled tape in the back of a shuttered video village. So the setup is beautifully simple. In 1979, the space station Skylab is decommissioned through atmospheric re-entry. Then one of the pieces end up in Western Australia. A farmer takes it and makes a makeshift Skylab museum around it. Well, the thing escapes and it fucks everyone up and kills a bunch of people. They're able to contain it and deep freeze it in a government facility. Decades pass, and fast forward to 2026, and the facility is now a glorified U-Haul managed by two night shift underachievers. Travis, played by Joe Keery, and Naomi, played by Georgina Campbell. When a cooling malfunction occurs, the body-bursting guest of honor thaws with a singular goal: rapid, messy expansion. Then enter Robert Quinn, played by Liam Neeson, who is the only living soul who knows how to kill this thing. The conflict isn't just survive the monster. It's a race to seal a breach before a localized infection becomes a global extinction level event. I think the real magic here is the chemistry. Joe Keery continues his reign as the king of charismatic guy who is way out of his depth. I'm really actually impressed with him in this. Very likable, very charismatic, and Georgina Campbell plays off of him perfectly. She is like the grounding force to his more frantic energy. Keery's character is a little bit more play by the rules for a reason, a character reason, very good character reason. And then there's Neeson. He's doing this kind of fascinating tightrope walk between his I will find you and I will kill you Taken persona, and with a dash of his Naked Gun absurdity. You see both of those sides in his role in this movie, which is kind of refreshing for Liam Neeson. I think it's kind of funny because the script gives him this convenient back injury in the final act. His back gets messed up in the first part of the movie, but of course it's going to come into play later on. And I think that's because maybe part of the reason they convinced Liam Neeson to be in this movie is that he'd be just laying down for most of the third act. He wouldn't have to do any action scenes or anything. The whole thing is kind of absurd if you think about it. Like, they make it this whole tense sequence where someone's trying to kill him while he can't move. But I'm like thinking this has to be like a contractual thing, right? That they wrote into this movie. I don't know. It's kind of funny. I thought it was a little convenient that he was just laying on his back for a good portion of that third act. I think like a lot of the creature designs and some of the practical effects are the star of the show. It's disgusting, wet, and gloriously over the top. I probably liken this to Return to the Living Dead. I mean, you have that part where they unfreeze the zombie while they unfreeze this alien substance. And a little bit of Night of the Creeps. I really love the fun this movie had. It reminded me a lot of both of those. And maybe newer would be Slither. Slither reminded me of a lot of those movies as well. I love a good homage to a 80s splatter flick. I would say the only drawback is the film kind of stumbles slightly in its prologue. I think it tries to be a little bit too sincere and too, I don't know, prestige maybe before the credits roll, which kind of clashes with the schlocky kind of wonderful madness of the rest of the runtime. It kind of lingers on that too without having that big punch like something like what I mentioned earlier, Night of the Creeps or Return of the Living Dead, or even Slither. So cold storage is a great schlocky good time. It reminded me of a lot of the 80s horror movies that I loved growing up. And it does it right, and it's got humor throughout that actually works. You got these side characters who are kind of like a joke characters, and they totally work in it, and they have like these weird, absurd interactions throughout, like all the characters do. But it's got those awesome creature effects and some good practical gore. You don't really exactly know what's happening or where it's going when it introduces like a new character into this chaos. So cold storage is a loud, sticky, and darkly hilarious reminder that some things are better left frozen. So I'm giving cold storage a 4 out of 5. But if you haven't seen the film, stop here and go watch it. And come back when you've washed the spores off. For everyone else, stay tuned for the deep dives starting right now as we break down the chaotic finale of cold storage. So the core mystery of cold storage isn't will it get out, but rather has it already won. The Atchison facility wasn't a tomb, it was an incubator. The fungus doesn't just want to consume, it wants to curate. By the time Travis and Naomi hear that first beat, the ecosystem has already shifted. The film posits that it's about humanity's arrogance, thinking we can decommission nature. So that's the real parasite. And there's some little breadcrumbs here and there from the first 2 acts. Before we even see like a body burster, we see the disinfected Rat King. It's a visual metaphor for the film's ending. Individual entities being forced into a singular, grotesque consciousness. Then you have Ma Rooney. And I mean, and why is she there? I mean, she's the human element of dormancy. Just like the fungus, she's been tucked away in the dark, waiting for a reason to spark back to life. Her saving Travis and Naomi isn't just a plot beat, it's the old world protecting the new. So there's the mechanics of the ending. So once the cooling system fails, the fungus hits this hyper mutation phase. Robert Quinn's solution is the backpack nuke, a scorched earth tactic. By placing the charge outside the vault door underground, Travis and Naomi aren't just killing the fungus, they are cauterizing a wound in the earth. The explosion creates a localized vacuum that incinerates the spores before they can reach the upper atmosphere. Quinn has this 20th century mindset, containment through violence. He is going to sacrifice Travis and Naomi. Travis and Naomi represent the 21st century survivalists. They don't want to study it, they just want to get home to their families. The choice to leak the reports to the press at the end suggests that cold storage is over. We can no longer keep secrets in the dark. The only way to survive the fungus of government negligence is total transparency. I mean, the lore of this sits firmly in that bio-horror lineage of, say, The Girl with All the Gifts and The Last of Us. But with a cynical Koepp-style twist, it subverts the invincible hero trope by having the veteran operative, Liam Neeson, literally unable to get off his back while the low-level employees do all the heavy lifting. So did Abigail, aka Ishani, leak the report to be a hero? I mean, by exposing the military, she effectively ended the cold storage program, meaning that any other samples out there are now unmonitored. I think the ending is incredibly satisfying as a genre piece, but it lacks that gut punch for its inspirations. I mean, while you have Return of the Living Dead ends with a hopeless nuclear strike, cold storage lets our leads have a beer. It's a happy ending that feels a bit unearned given the extinction level stakes, even though we got a little teaser at the end of it might not be all over with. But Keery's charm almost makes you forget that half of Kansas is probably glowing by now. But what did you think of cold storage? Let me know down in the comments below. YouTube thinks you'll like one of these videos that's by my head, and I'll see you next time.